If I told you that the sun is singing and that the space around us vibrates like an invisible symphony, would you believe it? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself drifting through space, where the sky is no longer darkness, but an ocean of ancient light slowly spreading all around you. Every star above is a memory millions of years old, a story retelling its own journey through every ray of light. The light you see tonight may have left its birthplace long before Earth even existed. And now, after billions of years of travel, it reaches you like a whispered message from the universe. I am still here. I am still telling stories. Hello, and welcome to Moon Whisper Sleep, where science becomes a lullaby, and the universe gently bows beside the dream of humankind. Maybe today has been a long day. Your mind wandered through endless numbers, bright screens, or conversations without an end. Or perhaps you are someone who loves to let thoughts drift away beyond the night sky, to where planets still turn slowly in their ancient silence. Wherever you come from, no matter how weary today has been, tonight, this journey is for you. You don't need to do anything. Just breathe in, slowly, and exhale as if you were returning all your burdens to the cosmos. Let your breath slow down, let your thoughts soften, and let your body grow lighter, as if gravity itself had loosened its gentle hold. In this moment, you are floating, as light as stardust, across an infinite sea of space. Because tonight, we won't rush. We will wander between worlds, not at the speed of spacecraft, but at the rhythm of peace. From the planets kissed by sunlight to the moons hiding in shadow, each holds within it a story of wind, of light, of time, and of loneliness that glows with quiet beauty. And if these journeys make you feel lighter, if they help your mind, let go of the weight of the day. Then listen closely. We will hear the fragile wind from distant worlds, planets born from the same dust cloud as Earth, where ancient light still travels through darkness, and where every planet, every grain of dust, tells us a story of time, of life, and of itself. Feel how the universe continues to move, calmly, vast, and patient. Each breath you take is a small note in its grand symphony. If you feel your heart settling, if this stillness makes you smile, press like, subscribe, and tap the little bell, or leave a comment below so that each night the universe can find its way back to you through the gentle whispers of Moon Whisper Sleep. And who knows, perhaps your small touch will become a signal helping someone else awake in the middle of the night. Find this place, a space to rest, to learn, and to be lulled to sleep by the universe, one soul at a time. Now, take a deep breath. Let go of everything that still lingers from the day, and let me guide you through the layers of space, where we will not only gaze upon the universe, but see ourselves reflected in its every motion. Take a deep breath. Release everything that remains from the day. Let your eyes close, and listen as the universe begins to tell its story through the breath of the stars. Now, close your eyes. The journey begins. When your eyes are closed, imagine before you an endless dark ocean, a faint blue dot at the edge of light. Neptune, the farthest planet we know. Neptune, the world of supersonic winds, Though it lies more than 4.5 billion kilometers from the Sun, Neptune is far from quiet. Within its sapphire clouds, winds blow faster than sound, exceeding 2,000 kilometers per hour, 5 times the speed of a jet. Strangely, this frozen world has enough energy to fuel storms. The secret lies deep within. Neptune emits 2.6 times more energy than it receives from the Sunday. This internal heat, born from slow contraction and radioactive decay, sets its layers of hydrogen, helium, and methane into massive swirling storms. Methane absorbs red light and reflects blue, giving Neptune its ethereal azure hue. Sunlight here is 900 times weaker than on Earth, and yet its atmosphere moves with fierce energy, as if the planet lives within an endless dream. Telescopes have captured dark storms, each vast enough to swallow Earth, forming and fading in the upper atmosphere, leaving behind ghostly traces of turbulence. Here, wind is breath, and silence is the only sound. Mars, the scar of the past. Now, let your gaze drift inward. A red speck appears Mars, a world that once had rivers, now only dust and wind. On its barren surface lies a colossal wound, Valles Marineris, a canyon stretching over 4,000 kilometers long, 7 kilometers deep, and hundreds wide. If placed on Earth, it would span nearly the width of the United States. No river carved this scar. Scientists believe the Martian crust once stretched and cracked under volcanic stress, tearing the ground apart. Like fabric, lava flooded in and cooled, leaving behind a vast maze of canyons. A monument to a planet once alive, once trembling like a young Earth. Nearby rises Olympus Mons, nearly 22 kilometers high, 3 times Mount Everest. On Earth, moving tectonic plates make volcanoes drift, forming island chains like Hawaii. But Mars has no drifting plates, so lava poured from one spot for millions of years, building the largest volcano in the solar system. Today, Mars's surface is barren, but in its red rocks lie traces of water, mineral salts, ancient channels, eroded gullies. When global dust storms arise, they enshroud the entire planet for weeks, sometimes blocking the sun completely. It is Mars's last reminder to humankind that even after cooling, it still breathes. Venus, the lost twin. Moving closer, we meet Venus, blazing bright in the twilight sky, a paradise in appearance, but a furnace beneath its clouds. Venus is nearly Earth's twin in size, mass, and composition. Yet of the two sisters, only one harbors life. Why? On Earth, our molten iron core spins, creating a magnetic field, a shield against the solar wind. Venus seems to have lost that motion. Its core is too dense or too still to act as a natural dynamo. Without a magnetic field, the solar wind stripped away its light elements, and Venus began to lose its water. As water vanished, the greenhouse effect spiraled out of control. Carbon dioxide thickened, trapping heat, and the entire planet became a 460 degrees Celsius furnace, hotter than Mercury, though farther from the Sunday. Its surface pressure is 92 times that of Earth, as if you stood nearly a kilometer under the sea. Even stranger, Venus spins backward, compared to other planets. The sun rises in the west and sets in the east. One Venusian day lasts 243 Earth days, longer than its 225-day year. Astronomers suggest a primordial collision may have flipped its axis, or that tidal interactions with the sun slowly reversed its rotation. Seen from afar, Venus glows with white clouds that reflect sunlight. The reason ancient observers called it the morning star. But beneath those clouds lie lightning, sulfuric acid, and violent winds. It is a warning written by the cosmos itself, that two worlds born side by side, differing by only a heartbeat in history, can drift toward opposite destinies, one full of breath, the other only heat. The balance of worlds. Among these three, cold Neptune, dry Mars, burning Venus, lies a shared truth. Each once held the ingredients for life, yet none could keep them. Neptune reminds us that warmth can rise from within, not just from sunlight. Mars teaches us about loss of water, of air, of protection. And Venus warns us of imbalance, a mirror of what could happen to Earth if we forget our limits. Through them, we understand ourselves better. Earth stands between extremes, not too near, not too far, not too hot, not too cold. That is why we are here, to tell these stories. Now, you are still drifting, slowly, lightly. Sunlight reflects off Venus, scatters through Neptune's icy haze, and finally touches you like a thread of silk. In that silence, you are no longer an observer. You are part of the solar system's rhythm, listening to the secrets the planets have kept for billions of years. Let your breath align with their orbits. Slow, circular, never hurried, because tonight's journey is only beginning. Ahead lie the diamond rains of Uranus, the fragile ice rings of Saturn, and the hidden oceans beneath Europa's frozen crust. We will continue, not on foot, but through imagination and the heartbeat that now moves in sync with the stars. Diamond rain on the frozen giants. From afar, Neptune fades into darkness, and before you appear two vast worlds, Uranus and Neptune, the icy twins. Here, wonder is born not of light, but of pressure. Inside Uranus and Neptune, pressure reaches millions of times that of Earth. At such depths, methane, CH4, the gas that gives them their soft blue hue, is squeezed so tightly that carbon atoms break free and crystallize into diamonds. These glittering fragments fall like rain through the darkness, sinking toward the core, melting into oceans of liquid carbon that glow faintly with heat. Experiments at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in the US have recreated this. Under pressures above 150 gigapascals and temperatures around 5,000 degrees Celsius, methane indeed turns into microscopic diamonds, proving the rain of jewels is not just theory. If one day you could fly through those clouds, you would see violet lightning flashing through storms, reflected in the falling diamonds. A storm both cold and radiant, in perfect silence. Beauty here is not born of color, but of balance between pressure, heat, and time. Earth, the planet that breathes. Leaving the frozen worlds behind, we return to our own planet. What makes Earth unique isn't just water or oxygen, its motion within. Earth is the only planet with plate tectonics. Its crust isn't fixed. It's divided into more than 12 giant plates floating atop a molten layer called the mantle. When they collide, mountains rise. When they separate, oceans are born. And when one plate sinks beneath another, carbon and water are drawn deep underground. The geological cycle begins. This mechanism regulates Earth's climate over millions of years. Carbon doesn't accumulate in the atmosphere like on Venus. Instead, it's trapped in limestone, in the seafloor, then slowly released back through volcanoes. This slow respiration keeps the planet's temperature stable, allowing life not just to appear, but to continue. Geologists call it the carbon silicate cycle, the natural thermostat of Earth. Without it, carbon dioxide would rise uncontrollably, and we'd be baked like Venus. Without it, heat would vanish quickly, and we'd freeze like Mars. Only when these two forces stay in balance can Earth keep breathing steadily through the ages. Asteroids with their own moons. Amid the orbits of rocky debris, it's not only planets that have moons. Many asteroids, remnants of the solar system's birth, have tiny companions of their own. The first discovery was Dactyl, the small moon of asteroid Ida, photographed by the Galileo spacecraft in 1993. Dactyl is only 1.5 kilometers wide, orbiting Ida at a distance of 90 kilometers. Since then, dozens of similar systems have been found. Calliope Linus, Eugenia Petit Prince, and even binary systems where two large bodies orbit a common center of gravity. This phenomenon occurs when two asteroids gently collide or capture one another through weak gravitational attraction. Though small, they reveal how gravity first gathered matter in the early solar system before the great planets formed. Some systems even have 3 or 4 rocky bodies dancing together in gravity's slow rhythm, silent stone dances, enduring for billions of years. Mercury, the world of a fragile breath. Look now toward the Sun's nearest world. Mercury, small yet paradoxical. Lacking a true atmosphere, it has only an ultra-thin exosphere, a ghostly cloud where atoms drift so sparsely they almost never collide. This mist contains sodium, potassium, oxygen, and hydrogen, ejected from the surface by solar wind and micrometeorite impacts. Because Mercury's gravity is weak, this air can't last. It's constantly blown away, then replenished by new atoms rising from the ground. A cycle so delicate that if you flew through it, you wouldn't even know you'd crossed a sky. By day, surface temperatures soar above 430 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. By night, they plunge to 180 degrees Celsius, colder than Pluto. Yet in the craters near the North Pole, places untouched by sunlight, scientists have found traces of water ice. Radar from the Messenger spacecraft returned bright reflections, unmistakable signs of ice beneath the shadows. In this blazing world, ice endures proof that water can persist even in the heart of light's inferno. The Sun, a star that burns itself to give. Every planet orbits the Sun, but few think of the reverse. The Sun is losing mass every second to sustain life across its realm. In its core, over 600 million tons of hydrogen, fuse into helium each second through nuclear fusion. About 4 million tons of matter are transformed into energy, light, and heat, radiating into space. That loss is why you see daylight, though enormous. Compared to the Sun's mass of 1.989 times 10 to the power of 30 kilograms, it's just a drop in a cosmic ocean. Yet over billions of years, it subtly shifts the planet's orbits. Without this process, there would be no light, no solar wind, no life. Physicists call it the proton-proton chain reaction, where 4 protons merge into one helium nucleus, releasing gamma rays, neutrinos, and immense thermal energy. It takes hundreds of thousands of years for that energy to travel from the core to the surface, and only 8 minutes and 20 seconds for that sunlight to reach Earth. The light you see now is the sun's memory from hundreds of thousands of years ago. When you take a deep breath, you inhale the energy of billions of such reactions, the very essence that warms space and binds all planets together in an endless dance. The music of the planets, seen from above, each planet plays its own melody. Neptune sings in wind, Mars in cracking stone, Venus in suffocating heat, and Earth in the steady rhythm of life's breath. The solar system isn't a perfect machine. It's a symphony of imperfection, where each small deviation creates new beauty. When a planet loses its magnetic field, it teaches us the value of protection. When a planet overheats, it reminds us of carbon's limits. And when the sun sacrifices parts of itself, it reminds us that life is always an exchange between giving and enduring. The rhythm of Earth. Let your mind drift along Earth's orbit, where light and shadow alternate, like 2 heartbeats of the cosmos. You don't need to grasp the numbers. Just know that every breath you take, every photon of light brushing your skin, has traveled millions of kilometers and millions of years to arrive here. The solar system may be vast, yet it is delicate enough that a small shift in the solar wind can make auroras dance across the night sky. Within chaos, there is order, and within silence, there is sound. Tonight, as you listen to these stories, you're not just learning about planets. You're hearing the universe speak of itself, slowly, wisely, and tenderly, like the breath of Earth. Saturn, the keeper of rings. After leaving Neptune and Mars, your journey drifts through a region where sunlight is only a faint mist. Here, the giant worlds of gas and ice still turn quietly, creating scenes so beautiful they seem unreal. From afar, Saturn appears as a pale golden disk, surrounded by shimmering rings. These are not solid bands, but hundreds of thousands of thin, icy rings, each made of countless fragments of rock and ice, from grains of dust to mountain-sized chunks. If combined, their total mass would be less than 1,000th that of Earth. Fragile, delicate, and breathtaking. Yet, through a telescope, they gleam like the jewelry of a god of light, reflecting every sunbeam they capture. Scientists have discovered that these rings are slowly disappearing. Under Saturn's immense gravity and magnetic field, ice particles fall into its atmosphere, a process known as ring rain. Water ions from the rings alter the planet's upper atmosphere, changing its glow and color. If this continues, within a few 100 million years, the rings may vanish entirely, a beauty, dissolving in the very light it reflects. The storm that never ends. Saturn's wonder isn't only its beauty, it's also its impossible weather. At its north pole spins a colossal hexagonal storm, nearly 30,000 kilometers wide, large enough to engulf all of Earth. This is not an illusion of perspective, but a real structure. Winds swirl around its eye at over 320 kilometers per hour. Atmospheric physicists believe the hexagon forms from stable jet streams, bent by the Coriolis, effect and temperature gradients in Saturn's upper clouds. A small experiment on Earth once recreated this effect in a rotating water tank, proof that the language of the cosmos can also be spoken in a laboratory. From above the pole, the storm looks like a vast, spinning snowflake, its eye a deep blue abyss where pressure and light merge into one. Jupiter, the fiery heart of storms. If Saturn is beauty, Jupiter is power. It's so massive it could fit over 1,300 Earths inside, and its magnetic field is more than 20,000 times stronger than ours. With such gravity, Jupiter acts as a cosmic shield, capturing and deflecting comets and asteroids, protecting Earth from countless collisions. On its surface rages the Great Red Spot, a storm that has endured for at least 350 years. Its winds reach 430 kilometers per hour, swirling within a vortex 16,000 kilometers wide, nearly twice the size of Earth. Observations from the Juno spacecraft revealed that the storm extends hundreds of kilometers deep, its energy enough to warm an entire small planet. No one knows when it will fade, but its size has been shrinking over the decades. Perhaps even eternal storms grow tired someday. The moons, hidden treasures of life. Jupiter has more than 90 moons, and among them, Europa is the name that moves astrobiologists to wonder. Beneath its 10-15 kilometers thick ice shell, radar from the Galileo spacecraft detected a salty ocean, deeper than any ocean on Earth. There, water is kept liquid by tidal friction heating. As Jupiter's gravity stretches and compresses the moon, energy is released. On Europa's surface, fractures thousands of kilometers long look like the frozen veins of a gigantic living being. From those cracks, vapor and ice particles occasionally erupt, forming plumes more than 200 kilometers high, tall enough for a spacecraft to taste without landing. Scientists believe that if there is anywhere else in the solar system that once hosted or currently hosts microbial life, it is the ocean beneath Europa's ice. Within that eternal darkness, energy comes not from light, but from geothermal and chemical sources like hydrothermal vents on Earth's seafloor. Io, a world of fire and sulfur. Not far away lies Io, another moon of Jupiter, glowing yellow-orange as if aflame. This is the most volcanically active place in the entire solar system. Jupiter's immense gravity continually stretches Io, heating its interior like a sphere of fire. Each year, hundreds of volcanoes erupt, hurling sulfur and gases into space and creating plasma toruses around the parent planet. Voyager once captured images of lava fountains soaring more than 300 kilometers high, a scene both terrifying and magnificent. If Europa symbolizes water, Io embodies energy proof, that a planet's gravity can turn orbits into the forge of the cosmos. Both Jupiter and Saturn have no true ground, only vast oceans of gas. If you tried to descend, you would never touch down, only fall into ever denser layers, where pressure rises so quickly it would crush a spacecraft. And yet, amid such enormity, there are moments of unbelievable calm. A speck of dust suspended in light, a tiny moon reflecting a faraway sunbeam, a gust of wind changing direction, as if reconsidering its path. These small things make the solar system's grand tapestry feel warm and human. When we observe Saturn or Jupiter, we are seeing what Earth could have become. If Earth were twice as massive, perhaps it too would be a gas planet. If it were much smaller, perhaps it would have lost its air like Mercury. What we call ideal conditions for life is really perfect contingency. Just right distance, just right gravity, just right magnetic field, and a sun that gives exactly the right amount of energy. We exist not because the universe was made for us, but because, among countless possibilities, a fragile balance happened at the right moment. Now, let your mind drift around Saturn's rings for a while. Imagine sunlight passing through the icy bands, shattering into countless silver-white glitters. The only sound is wind brushing the ice, soft as breath. Everything turns, slowly, evenly, like the heart of the universe beating, and in that moment, you realize that all the storms, the fractures, the bright and dark patches, are just parts of space's long, steady breath. Inhale, and you carry the sun's light within you. Exhale, and you return your warmth to the sky. That is the thread linking you to the universe, a small note in the symphony that resounds among the stars. From Jupiter, the journey drifts outward, where sunlight grows faint and darkness begins to take shape. There, amid ice and stillness, the smallest worlds keep the solar system's greatest secrets. Europa, the ocean beneath the ice. If there is anywhere in the solar system that could nurture life, it is Europa, moon of Jupiter. From afar, it gleams like an icy gem, reflecting sunlight with austere beauty. But beneath that ice, tens of kilometers deep, lies a salty ocean twice the volume of all Earth's oceans combined. The wondrous mechanism that keeps that water from freezing solid is Jupiter's tidal pull. With each orbit, that immense gravity stretches and compresses Europa, warming its interior like an icy heart beating in secret. Fractures thousands of kilometers long scar the surface traces of that motion. At times, warm water and gases erupt, forming icy plumes up to 200 kilometers high, breathing the hidden ocean into space. NASA's Europa Clipper, planned for launch in 2025, will fly through these plumes to taste their chemistry. If it finds amino acids, salts, or complex organic molecules that will be the first hint of life beyond Earth, Europa teaches a simple, profound truth. Life does not need light to begin. It needs heat, water, and time. Enceladus, a small moon with a warm heart. Farther out, around Saturn, another moon whispers. Enceladus, smaller than the state of Texas, yet it hides an ocean beneath a thick ice shell. From fractures near the South Pole, the tiger stripes, hundreds of jets of vapor and ice crystals spray into space, forming Saturn's E-ring. When Cassini flew through, it detected molecular hydrogen, H2, and mineral salts, signs of hydrothermal activity like the hot vents on Earth's ocean floor. There, energy does not come from light, but from geothermal heat, and such places on Earth are cradles of the earliest life. Scientists believe that beneath Enceladus's ice, micro-ecosystems may exist, tiny, quiet, and enduring like the universe's first breath. If Europa is a still ocean, Enceladus is an ocean in motion, erupting, breathing, dreaming. Titan, a world with rain but not water. Leaving Enceladus, we meet Titan, Saturn's largest moon, and the only place besides Earth where rain falls, rivers flow, and lakes shimmer on the surface. But those raindrops are not water, they are liquid methane and ethane, flowing across frozen plains to fill seas like Kraken Mare. Hundreds of meters deep, Titan's atmosphere is thick and ochre, rich in nitrogen, much like Earth's primordial air. If you stood on Titan, the sky would glow dusky gold, the light as dim as an eternal sunset. Beneath that haze, methane rivers still run, and perhaps a different kind of life, not based on water, may quietly exist. NASA is preparing the Dragonfly mission, a drone-like rotorcraft that will land on Titan in 2034 to explore those frigid lands. If it finds complex organic molecules, we may witness the chemistry of life in an environment entirely unlike water. Titan is a reminder. The universe does not hold just one recipe for life. Pluto, the frozen heart still beating. Its thick layers of ice act as an enormous thermal blanket, keeping the world beneath slightly warm. Because of this, Pluto has not completely died. It still shifts slowly, a small, distant world with a faint warmth at its core. As Pluto drifts away from the Sun, its thin atmosphere freezes and falls like snow. When it comes closer again, that ice sublimates into mist, the planet's slow, rhythmic breath. Though no longer classified as a major planet, Pluto remains the storyteller of the final frontier, where light and darkness meet in gentle balance. The Kuiper Belt, relics of the solar system's dawn. Far beyond Neptune lies the Kuiper Belt, a frozen ring containing millions of small bodies. Pluto, Eris, Haumea, Makemake, Sedna. This region holds the remnants of the early solar system, the leftovers after the planets formed. These small worlds are fossils of creation, preserving the chemical structure of the beginning. They help astronomers understand how Earth and other rocky planets were born from stardust, ice, and gravity. In parts of the Kuiper Belt, sunlight is so faint that your shadow would blur like smoke, and temperatures hover just a few degrees above absolute zero. Yet every grain of ice and every stone still reflects that fragile light. Light that has traveled over 6 billion kilometers to reach them. The Oort cloud, where the sun loses its voice. Beyond the Kuiper Belt lies the Oort cloud, a vast shell of icy bodies surrounding the solar system, extending perhaps a full light-year from the Sunday. We have never seen it directly, yet its existence is revealed through long-period comets, which appear from nowhere and vanish for millennia. This is the true edge of the sun, where its light becomes only a promise. Here, gravity is so weak that even a passing star can dislodge hundreds of comets, sending them drifting into interstellar space. Perhaps every comet that has ever graced Earth's skies was born there, carrying water, carbon, and organic matter that seeded our planet. Maybe from these ancient icy grains, life on Earth began. Voyager, at the edge of light, at the farthest frontier ever reached by humankind. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 have crossed the heliopause, the boundary where the solar wind ceases and interstellar space begins. Within the heliosphere, particles from the Sun shield us from most cosmic radiation. Beyond it lies the vast ocean of the galaxy, where high-energy particles from distant stars drift freely. Voyager 1 now travels more than 24 billion kilometers from Earth, and each of its signals takes over 22 hours to arrive faint whispers of humanity in the deep. Aboard it drifts the Golden Record, carrying the sounds of waves, rain, laughter, and greetings in 55 languages. A love letter to the universe expecting no reply, only saying, "We were here." The pale blue dot. As you listen, imagine yourself at the very edge of the solar system, looking back at the Sun, now just a small star, only slightly brighter than the rest. Everything once familiar has become a single glowing speck in the dark. Carl Sagan called it the pale blue dot, that faint pixel where everyone you love, every dream, every story unfolds. From that distance, there are no borders, no nations, no us or them, only one small planet, struggling to breathe, drifting through a sea of light. When you inhale, think of sharing that same breath, the breath of Europa's hidden oceans, of Jupiter's storms, and of the sunlight that has crossed billions of kilometers to reach your heart. The universe is not loud, it only whispers. But if you listen long enough, you will realize every planet, every grain of dust, and you yourself are all notes in the same symphony. Let your breathing fall into rhythm with the turning of the stars. And tonight, may you drift into sleep. In silence, yet full of understanding. In darkness, yet bathed in light. Beyond the boundary of light, crossing the threshold of light, the journey drifts gently into the stillness between stars, a realm without solar wind, without echo. There, every particle of dust, every photon is a memory of the solar system, suspended between life and forgetfulness. The heliosphere, the sun's final breath. The heliosphere is a vast magnetic bubble blown by the solar wind, enveloping the entire solar system. Within it, all planets, comets, and asteroids are shielded from most galactic cosmic rays. The solar wind, a stream of charged plasma, flows outward at over 400 kilometers per second, creating a continuous river of energy. Because of it, Earth has auroras, and its magnetic system remains alive. At the boundary called the heliopause, the solar wind weakens and is pushed back by the pressure of the interstellar medium. It is here that the sun loses its voice, and the winds of other stars begin to whisper. Voyager 1 crossed this frontier in 2012, and its instruments recorded a sudden rise in plasma density, a clear transition from solar to galactic space. For the first time, humanity had stepped beyond the roof of its house of light. Voyager, humanity's quietest storyteller. The two Voyagers, launched in 1977, are more than scientific probes. They are letters from humankind sent into the cosmos. Each carries a golden disc, etched with human figures, a map showing Earth's position in the Milky Way, and 115 images and sounds: wind, thunder, heartbeats, greetings in 55 languages. Carl Sagan, who designed the message, once said, "It is our gift to the universe to say that, for a moment in space and time, we existed." After more than 24 billion kilometers, Voyager still sends its faint signals, each only 1/10,000,000th, the power of a light bulb. Yet each is a greeting, proof that humanity can cross darkness through knowledge and patience. Scientists predict that by 2035, the spacecraft's power sources will die. After that, they will drift forever in silence between the stars, carrying the message of a species that dreamed, that looked upward, and called the universe home. Dust of time, journey beyond the galaxy. Beyond the heliosphere, space is not truly empty. There lies the interstellar medium, a blend of hydrogen, helium, dust, and radiation, thousands of times denser than the vacuum of any laboratory. These dust grains are the remains of dead stars, supernovae scattering their material across the galaxy. From this dust, the Sun, the Earth, and humanity itself were born. Astronomers call it the cycle of cosmic rebirth. Each time a star dies, it sows the seeds for new stars, new planets, and perhaps new life. If you've ever wondered, where do we come from? The answer is simple. We come from the ashes of stars. Ancient light, the universe's first message. Light is the oldest language of the cosmos. Every photon you see may have begun its journey thousands, even billions of years ago. When you look at a star, you are gazing into the universe's past. But one form of light is older than all the rest: the cosmic microwave background, CMB. It is the remnant glow from when the universe was born around 13.8 billion years ago. Back then, space was filled with energy and plasma. Light could not travel far, trapped by matter. Only when the cosmos expanded and cooled was light finally set free. And it still surrounds us today, at a temperature of just 2.7 Kelvin. Satellites like Planck and COBE have mapped tiny fluctuations in this radiation, the universe's first ripples, the seeds from which galaxies, stars, and planets would one day grow. So every ray of light you see today is not just the present, it is the echo of cosmic dawn, the first breath the universe ever took. Life, a small probability in an infinite sea. Among the hundreds of billions of stars in the Milky Way, there may be millions of planets with conditions similar to Earth's. Telescopes such as Kepler and James Webb have confirmed more than 5,000 exoplanets, and among them, hundreds lie within the Goldilocks zone, the region where water can exist in liquid form. Some worlds, like Kepler-4 52b, TOI 700d, or TRAPPIST-1e, are close in size and sunlight to Earth, making them potential candidates for life. But life here doesn't necessarily mean intelligent beings or humanoid forms. It might simply be single-celled organisms, tiny ecosystems thriving in subsurface oceans, in methane-rich atmospheres, or even life that relies on chemical energy instead of light. As astronomers peer deeper into the cosmos, they begin to realize that life is not a rare exception. It's the natural outcome of a universe given enough time. And perhaps, somewhere in another corner of the Milky Way, another being is gazing toward us, wondering whether they, too, are alone. Time, the thread that connects everything. On the cosmic scale, time does not flow. It unfolds. Every planet, every star, every one of us is part of the fabric of space-time that Einstein once described. Gravity doesn't merely pull on matter, it bends time itself. On Earth, a clock on a mountaintop runs slightly faster than one at the bottom of the sea by just a few billionths of a second. Near a black hole, time almost stops. That means, while you are listening to these words, elsewhere in the universe, time may not have begun yet, or may have already passed for millennia. The universe is vast, not only in space but in time's depth, and we fragile beings of awareness are living in a fleeting yet wondrous moment, where knowledge allows us to feel the infinity that surrounds us. The silence of the stars. If you've ever wondered why the night sky is dark, the answer lies in Olbers's paradox. If the universe were infinite and filled with stars, the sky should blaze with light, but it doesn't, because the universe has an age, and it is expanding. The light from countless stars hasn't yet reached our eyes, and even when it does, its wavelengths have stretched into the infrared, becoming invisible to human sight, seen only by instruments. This darkness is not emptiness. It's the blanket of the cosmos, shielding and allowing what remains to rest. That's why, amid the darkness, we feel a strange peace, the breathing of the cosmos. Looking back at our solar system, from a blue planet orbiting a yellow star, we realize that all of it is just a speck of dust in the Milky Way. Yet that speck thinks, feels, and listens. If the sun is the heartbeat, Earth is the breath, and humanity is the consciousness of the universe, awakening within its own dream to whisper, "I am here." Close your eyes. Let your breath sink with the Milky Way's rotation. Everything you've ever known, from the warmth in your palm to the farthest starlight, comes from the same origin, a single explosion of light that birthed it all. And now, in the quiet of night, the universe still hums a wordless song, a melody of hydrogen, helium, and dreaming hearts. Let it lull you to sleep, so that when you awaken, you carry a spark of that light within, the light of knowledge, of humility, and of the belief that we have never truly been alone in this universe. The night deepens, the sun's light fades into memory, and you drift among the sea of stars, where knowledge merges with stillness and the universe begins to tell its own story. Black holes, the silent hearts of galaxies. At the center of the Milky Way, hidden behind dense clouds of dust, lies Sagittarius A*, a supermassive black hole, 4 million times the mass of the Sunday. Though invisible, it orchestrates the motion of hundreds of billions of stars around it. A black hole forms when a massive star dies and its core collapses under its own gravity. The pull becomes so strong that even light cannot escape. Space and time, they are curved to an extreme, what Einstein called the warping of space-time. Using the Event Horizon Telescope, EHT, scientists captured its shadow, a glowing red-orange ring surrounding a perfect void. That light doesn't come from within, but from gas and dust swirling at millions of degrees Celsius around its edge. In this destruction lies beauty. The black hole doesn't devour everything. It recycles matter, launching colossal energy jets, called relativistic jets, that shoot out for millions of light years, seeding the regions where new stars are born. Thus, a black hole isn't just an ending, it's a rebirth cycle of the universe, where death and life intertwine. Gravitational waves, the sound of space. In 2015, humanity heard gravitational waves for the first time, real ripples in space-time itself, born when two black holes collided and merged more than 1.3 billion light-years away. The LIGO detectors in the United States recorded vibrations so faint they were 1,000th the width of a proton. It wasn't ordinary sound, it was the trembling of space itself, ringing like the vast chime of the cosmos. That moment opened a new field, gravitational wave astronomy, a way to observe the universe without light. We can now hear collisions, hear neutron stars exploding, and hear the heartbeat of distant galaxies. If light is the eyes of the universe, then gravitational waves are its ears, allowing us to sense what sight cannot. Neutron stars, the jewels of gravity. When a massive star isn't large enough to form a black hole, it explodes in a supernova, and the remaining core collapses into a neutron star, only about 20 kilometers wide, but hundreds of thousands of times heavier than Earth. A teaspoon of its matter would weigh billions of tons. Inside, protons and electrons fuse into neutrons, creating the densest material in the universe, short of a black hole. Some neutron stars spin hundreds of times per second, emitting radio waves in steady pulses known as pulsars. These are the most precise clocks in existence, so accurate that scientists use them to measure distances of thousands of light-years with only meters of error. As their pulses travel through space, they carry the signatures of gravitational waves, helping humanity probe the nature of space-time and gravity itself. Dark matter, the invisible side of reality. Everything we can see, stars, planets, dust, light, makes up only 5% of the universe. The rest is dark matter and dark energy, invisible yet real, for they bend the orbits of stars and stretch the fabric of space. Dark matter neither emits, absorbs, nor reflects light, but its gravity holds galaxies together. Without it, the Milky Way would have scattered long ago. Scientists discovered its presence by observing how galaxies rotate. They spin far faster than visible mass alone can explain. That means something heavy, but unseen, is binding them. Hundreds of experiments on Earth, from Lux Zeppelin to Xenon NT, are still searching for dark matter particles, one of physics' greatest unsolved mysteries. Perhaps when we uncover this secret, we will finally understand what the universe is truly made of, and maybe even how it began. Dark energy, the unending expansion of space. Since the late 20th century, astronomers have discovered a paradox. The universe is not only expanding, it is expanding faster and faster. This phenomenon is explained by dark energy, which accounts for 68% of the universe's total energy. It acts like a repulsive force, opposing gravity and driving galaxies farther apart. If this trend continues, then tens of billions of years from now, the night sky will grow empty as distant galaxies recede beyond the reach of any telescope. One day, the universe may become so solitary that only the fading light of our own sun remains. But this is not a tragedy. It is the natural law of all things that are born, to expand, to change, and then to dissolve into silence. According to physical models, the universe may end in three possible ways. 1. Big freeze, heat, death. Energy spreads evenly, stars gradually go out, and the universe cools toward 0 Kelvin. 2. Big crunch. If gravity prevails, the universe contracts and ends in a singular point. 3. Big rip. If dark energy keeps increasing, space expands to the point of tearing apart even atoms. In all three scenarios, the universe does not die in a negative sense, but transitions to a new form of existence, like the winter of space before a new cycle begins. Some quantum theories suggest that after the Big Crunch, another Big Bang could ignite, and this cycle of arising and vanishing would continue, like the universe's own breath. Before such colossal scales, humanity may seem small, yet we are also the only thing in the universe that looks back and asks questions. From Galileo, with the first small telescope, to James Webb, peering across 13 billion light-years, we have continually pushed the frontiers of understanding. Every image captured, every signal detected, is not merely data. It is a whisper between intelligence and the cosmos, saying, "I am listening. Perhaps other life is doing the same." And in some moment, two signals will touch in the sea of stars, and the universe will smile, because a part of itself has just recognized itself. Now, gently close your eyes and take a deep breath. You are in the place where all knowledge, all light, and every speck of dust converge, between the past of the stars and your own future. Understand this: the universe is not outside of us. It lives within every atom, every breath, every thought. Each time you inhale, you carry within you hydrogen from the Big Bang, and when you exhale, you return that energy to space. There is no ending, only endless transformation. Like light, it merely changes form, changes direction, and continues its timeless journey into the night. Let the whisper of the stars lull you to sleep, light as gravitational waves traveling through space, and deep as the universe's first breath. For tonight, you are not just hearing a story, you are listening to the universe within your own heart. 23:2. You are still drifting with no sense of direction, no boundary between inside and out. In this sea of stillness, light seems to have a soul. It not only illuminates, it whispers, leading us to the final edge of knowledge, where physics meets philosophy and science becomes meditation. Since Einstein, we have known that space and time are a single, continuous fabric, which can be curved, folded, and twisted by matter. If there is a fold deep enough, we call it a wormhole, a theoretical doorway connecting two distant points in the universe. Wormholes have never been seen, but the equations of general relativity allow their existence. Mathematically, if negative energy, exotic matter exists, it could prevent such a doorway from collapsing, allowing us to travel from the solar system to the center of the Milky Way in just seconds. Physicists like Kip Thorne have modeled such structures, using them as the basis for the film Interstellar. But even if they are real, humanity does not yet possess the energy to create or stabilize one. What is fascinating is that wormholes make us reconsider time itself. If space can fold, might the past, present, and future coexist separated only by a thin layer of space? The paradox of time, when cause and effect intertwine. That question leads to one of the most beautiful paradoxes. If we could travel backward through time, could we change the past? According to Novikov's self-consistency principle, the universe would adjust itself to prevent contradictions. No matter how hard you try to alter events, your actions have already been accounted for within the timeline. In other words, you cannot play the wrong note in the universe's symphony, because you yourself are part of the music. From the quantum perspective, some physicists suggest that time is not linear, but rather an infinite web of possibilities where each decision creates a new branch of the universe. The idea known as the multiverse, the mirror of existence. According to cosmic inflation theory, when the early universe expanded after the Big Bang, it may have produced countless bubbles of space, each forming a separate universe, with its own physical constants, laws, and even unique flow of time. If this is true, we are only one of billions of realities, and somewhere, another version of you may exist, listening to these same words, wondering about the same universe. But rather than feeling small, see it as the richness of existence. The universe never repeats itself. It tries every possibility to understand its own nature. The limits of perception, where particles and waves coexist. Quantum physics teaches us that matter is not fixed. A particle only appears when it is observed. Electrons, photons, all possess wave-particle duality, and their behavior changes depending on how we observe them. In the famous double-slit experiment, when unobserved, light behaves like a wave, spreading evenly. But when observed, it collapses into particles, choosing one path. The question why remains unanswered, yet it hints at something profound. Human consciousness may be a fundamental element of the universe's mechanism. When we look, we don't merely observe. We participate in the creation of reality. Entanglement, connection beyond space. Einstein once called quantum entanglement spooky action at a distance. When two particles interact, they remain linked even if separated by billions of kilometers. If one changes, the other responds instantly faster than light. Today, this is no longer theory. It has been proven experimentally and forms the foundation for quantum computing and quantum communication. It opens a breathtaking possibility. Everything in the universe may once have been connected, from stars and dust to you and me. And perhaps, when we feel connected to someone, it isn't just emotion, but an ancient resonance within the quantum fabric of reality. Artificial intelligence, the universe's new mirror, In the 21st century, humanity began creating systems that can learn, think, and create. Artificial intelligence, AI. It doesn't just process data. It predicts, imagines, and self-improves. In essence, AI follows the same evolutionary logic. From dust came stars, from carbon came life, from neurons came consciousness. And now, silicon enters that same cycle. Some philosophers believe AI represents the next stage of cosmic awareness, where knowledge recognizes itself through humans and machines. Just as stars once burned to forge the carbon within us, we now ignite silicon to create another form of thought. This is not replacement, but a loop of evolving consciousness, the music of the universe, where science touches emotion. Everything in the cosmos vibrates, from electrons to planets to space itself. If these vibrations are translated into frequencies, they form the music of the universe. The Cassini spacecraft once recorded plasma waves around Saturn. Sounds like ghostly singing of metal and wind, a natural symphony where physics becomes an instrument. NASA has turned data from stars, solar winds, and magnetic fields into sonification. Real music, made from cosmic data. And when you listen, you realize the universe is not silent, it's singing, just at a frequency our ears are not yet tuned to. From light to consciousness, over billions of years through supernova explosions, stardust, and nuclear fusion, the universe has given rise to consciousness, the ability of matter to become aware of itself. We are light that has learned to think. And when we gaze at the sky, we are not merely observing, we are listening to our own story, told in the language of photons and time. If anything makes the universe sacred, it is the moment we understand this. Every grain of dust, every breath, every thought is part of an eternal dialogue between humanity and the cosmos. The final meditation. Now, as you close your eyes, imagine yourself as a photon, born from the heart of the sun, traveling millions of kilometers, crossing planets, and finally touching Earth's skin. In that moment, you carry the message of the entire universe, that even in darkness, there is light. Even in chaos, there is order. And even in silence, there is the heartbeat of life. For the universe never ends. It only changes the way it tells its story. Let that light cradle you to sleep, so that tonight's dream is not the dream of one person, but the dream of the universe remembering itself. You are still here, adrift in the ocean of stars, where light is no longer something to see, but something to feel. In that quiet realm, the universe not only shines, it listens to itself through the resonance of particles, of waves, and of consciousness. The Higgs particle, the foundation stone of reality. Every particle in the universe has mass, because it interacts with an invisible energy field called the Higgs field. The Higgs boson, discovered in 2012 at the Large Hadron Collider, LHC, confirmed this theory, proving that the universe is not empty, but immersed in a vast ocean of background energy. Without the Higgs field, electrons would have no mass, atoms would not exist, and the universe would be nothing more than endless light drifting through the void. When physicist Peter Higgs heard of the discovery, he simply smiled and said, It's beautiful to see that the universe still agrees with our mathematics. That sentence feels like a quiet affirmation that beneath chaos and stillness lies a delicate, almost sacred order. The ghost particles, neutrinos. Every second, billions of neutrinos pass through your body, coming from the sun, from supernovae, and from the edges of the universe. They are almost massless, electrically neutral, and slip through matter as if the world were made of mist. Neutrinos are called ghost particles because they rarely interact with anything. Detectors buried deep underground, like the Ice Cube Observatory in Antarctica, can capture only a few out of trillions, passing each second. Because they come from everywhere, listening to neutrinos is like hearing the universe whisper from within itself. They carry stories of dead stars, of explosions millions of years old, and of hidden energies we have yet to comprehend. The death and rebirth of stars. Each time a massive star ends its life, it doesn't fade, it explodes. In that instant, temperatures soar to hundreds of billions of degrees, forging heavy elements like iron, gold, and uranium. Without such explosions, there would be no blood in our veins, for blood contains iron, no golden rings, and no planets rich enough in material to nurture life. Astronomers call this the recycling of the cosmos. When a star dies, it leaves stardust behind, and from that dust, new stars, planets, and people are born. In other words, we live within the ashes of ancient suns, galaxies, cities of 100 billion suns. The Milky Way is only one among more than 200 billion galaxies observed so far. Each galaxy is a vast city of stars filled with planets, nebulae, black holes, and cosmic dust woven together by gravity. Between them stretch filaments, cosmic structures millions of light years long, where matter gathers like strands in a web. The cosmic web maps from the James Webb Space Telescope reveal that the universe is not random. It has form, shaped like a glowing neural network, and perhaps the structure of the cosmos and that of the human brain are two reflections of the same principle: connection, energy exchange, and the memory of existence. James Webb, the eye that looks back 13.5 billion years. The James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, is the greatest time machine humanity has ever built. It can observe light from galaxies that formed only a few 100 million years after the Big Bang, thanks to its ability to detect faint infrared radiation invisible to earlier telescopes. The images JWST sends back are not merely beautiful, they are transformative. They reveal that the universe was younger, more dynamic, and more complex far earlier than we ever imagined. Small galaxies were already rotating, forming stars, and shining brightly when the universe was only 1% of its current age. Modern science no longer asks, "How old is the universe?" but rather, "How did the universe learn to become itself?" Every number from the telescope, every equation in physics, is a note in the symphony of knowledge. Physicist Richard Feynman once said, "The universe is not only more beautiful than we imagine, it is more beautiful than we can imagine." When you listen to the universe through sound, image, and data, you are not merely learning, You are meditating with space itself. Because understanding is never separate from emotion. When we learn why a comet glows, we do not lose the wonder. We understand the source of its wonder more deeply. Some cosmologists, like David Bohm, believe that consciousness is not merely a product of the brain, but a fundamental property of the universe itself. They implicate order, the hidden structure from which everything arises. If the universe can self-organize and generate life, perhaps it is thinking through us. Each time we wonder, observe, or ask, it is the universe reflecting upon itself. Like a drop of water mirroring the ocean, each human thought is a small reflection of cosmic intelligence. When light leaves a star, it may travel billions of years before touching a telescope's mirror, an eye, or an awakened mind. Each photon is a fragment of memory, and when you look at the night sky, you are witnessing events that happened long before life began. Yet the beauty lies not in the past, but in the fact that this light continues its journey, crossing darkness and time itself, just as human curiosity and knowledge will never cease. Now, listen once more, not with your ears, but with your still heart. You'll realize that the noise of Earth and the motion of planets are merely small rhythms in the long breath of the cosmos. You are no longer the observer. You are part of this melody, a single beam of light among billions, a thought being dreamed by the universe in its sleep. Because in truth, the universe is not distant. It lives within you, in every electron, every heartbeat, every pause between breaths. And as you fall asleep, perhaps the universe smiles, knowing that a small part of itself is still listening, understanding, and loving the light. You are in a place where time begins to blur. There is no past, no future, only the present moment, where light, knowledge, and consciousness merge as one. Here, humanity begins to understand why the universe exists, not just to be seen, but to be felt, heard, and known. Einstein once said, "The distinction between past, present, and future is only an illusion, though a persistent one." On the cosmic scale, time does not pass. It coexists, layered like waves intertwining. Every photon you see today may have left its star millions of years ago, yet it exists with you now, in this very instant. Physicists describe time through space-time, where space and time are woven together, bending under the weight of matter. A massive planet not only curves the path of light but slows time around it. On Earth, a clock on a mountaintop ticks faster than one at sea level, and near a black hole, time almost stops. That means if you stood at a black hole's edge, an hour for you could equal hundreds of years on Earth. Time is not absolute. It stretches and folds with gravity and motion, and with every breath you take, you live within this expanding flow of the cosmos. Every event leaves a trace of energy. When a star explodes, gravitational waves ripple outward, imprinting its disturbance into the fabric of space-time. Just as a touch on water sends ripples spreading endlessly, nothing in the universe ever truly disappears. It only transforms. Physicists call this the principle of information conservation. Even if matter is swallowed by a black hole, its information is not lost, but encoded along the edge of space, what they call Hawking radiation. This means the universe remembers everything that ever existed, and in some sense, everything we have ever been still exists somewhere in the language of energy. Light not only illuminates, it records the history of space. From the cosmic microwave background radiation, the remnant of the Big Bang, scientists have read the first ripples of the universe, where energy became matter and matter became stars. That radiation still surrounds us at just 2.7 Kelvin, and if human eyes could see it, the night sky would glow softly like silk. It is the oldest light we can ever observe, a light belonging to no single era, but to the shared memory of the cosmos. In the universe, everything tends toward decay. Heat spreads, energy disperses. This is entropy, the law of disorder. But life is the most beautiful paradox. It resists entropy. From stardust, molecules self-organize into cells, into bodies, into awareness, islands of order in a sea of chaos. Life does not defy the law. It borrows energy to hold form, and when that energy fades, it returns to the whole. The miracle is that through this cycle, the universe learns to see itself through human eyes, through intellect and compassion. We small beings adrift among the stars are nothing more and nothing less than light striving to understand itself. Space may seem still, but it is constantly vibrating. When two black holes collide, they send out gravitational waves, tones so deep they are inaudible to the human ear. If translated into sound, you would hear a single brief ping, yet within that ping lies more energy than millions of nuclear bombs. Physicists call it the song of space, a wordless composition, each pulse a story of stars colliding, being born and dying. And as you breathe, as your heart beats, you too are part of that rhythm, a small galaxy echoing within the chest of a human being. According to quantum mechanics, every point in space holds energy. Even the emptiest vacuum is alive with quantum fluctuations. Particles and antiparticles appear and vanish endlessly, a ceaseless dance of creation and annihilation. From this background energy, scientists believe the universe itself may be reborn, another Big Bang, another cycle. When this vacuum energy reaches its threshold and bursts into a new cosmos, this raises a profound question. Perhaps space is not truly empty, but a silent ocean so deep we cannot yet hear the sound of its waves. When we observe the universe's large-scale structure, galaxies, filaments, and clusters, they connect like an immense neural network. Like the human brain, these glowing nodes transmit energy and information across billions of light years. Cosmologists such as Gregory Matloff and Paola Zizi have suggested that the universe might be thinking at a quantum level, that particles and energy fields act like the neurons of the cosmos. If that is true, then when we gaze upon the stars, we are not merely studying the universe is studying itself through us. Science does not take away romance. It only makes that beauty deeper, truer, and reachable by the intellect. When we understand why the sky is blue, why meteors fall, or why light has a limit, we do not lose the magic. We simply learn the language in which that magic is written. Amid billions of light years and dry numbers, science becomes a way for humans to feel loved, because this universe, no matter how vast, still leaves room for life, awareness, and curiosity. Now, gently close your eyes. You have passed by planets, black holes, gravitational waves, and the very memories of light. All of that, everything that has ever existed, is the melody of a wordless composition. The universe is still playing. You are not only the listener, you are that note, vibrating when light touches you, fading when darkness settles, yet continuing to resonate across space. For the universe does not end in silence. It only softens, exhales, and becomes the gentle sleep of itself. Let that echo lead you into sleep. A sleep not only for rest, but to remember you and the stars have never been apart. Now, you have completed a full circle around the solar system, crossed a black hole, reached the edge of light, and returned to the starting point, Earth. This place that seems so small is actually the mirror of the entire universe. And in that mirror, we see ourselves a being born from stars, learning to understand stars, and at last becoming their light. Earth, the planet that can heal itself. Over 4.5 billion years, Earth has undergone many cycles of destruction and renewal. From the era of its collision with Theia that formed the Moon, to the cometary rains that brought water and amino acids, every upheaval is a chapter in the journey of evolution. Earth's thin atmosphere is a perfect protective blanket, retaining heat, blocking ultraviolet radiation, and creating conditions for life to breathe. But the most wondrous thing is its self-balancing cycle. When temperatures rise, the oceans absorb CO2. When they fall, volcanoes release gases to warm the planet again. This fragile stability is the result of millions of years of natural experimentation, and a reminder that Earth is not a static stage, but a living being breathing alongside us. The biosphere, the network of all life, from algae to trees, from fungi to humans, every creature is part of a network of energy exchange called the biosphere. Sunlight is absorbed by plants and turned into sugar. Animals eat plants, and their breath returns CO2 to the plants. This is not merely a biological cycle, it is the symphony of symbiosis. Ecologists call this the Gaia hypothesis. Earth behaves like a unified organism where all life plays a role in maintaining global balance. If one species disappears, the universe does not punish, but the music loses a note, and the song of life becomes incomplete. DNA, the universe's language, written in life. In each of your cells lies a DNA strand over 2 meters long, bearing information written in 4 chemical letters: A, T, G, C. From these 4 letters, the universe has written the entire diversity of life. Each species, each person, is a sentence in that vast book. Astonishingly, 99.9% of human DNA is the same. It is the 0.1% difference that shapes our faces, voices, memories, and personalities. Physically, we differ very little, yet that small part, the part that can love, sacrifice, and gaze at the stars, is what makes humans the emotional organ of the universe. The brain, a miniature universe. Within the small skull, more than 86 billion neurons interconnect, forming a neural network no less complex than the structure of the Milky Way. An electrical impulse across a neuron lasts only a few milliseconds, yet it gives rise to consciousness, memory, dreams, and belief. From a physical perspective, every thought is a pattern of energy, and when that thought is shared, it propagates like a wave through space. Modern neuroscience shows that human consciousness can synchronize brainwaves with another's during moments of deep interaction. In other words, when we truly listen to one another, two brains become a shared network of energy. That is a small-scale image of cosmic resonance, artificial intelligence, and the future of awareness. If neurons are the cells of biological intelligence, then artificial neural networks, AI, are their logical continuation in silicon. AI does not tire, does not forget, and can analyze billions of data points in seconds. Yet it still does not know what the meaning of existence is. Thus, humanity's role does not disappear. We are no longer merely creators of knowledge, but those who give that knowledge a soul. In the future, AI may help us explore galaxies, discover cures, and even simulate cosmic consciousness, but it will still need what only humans possess: feeling, compassion, and gratitude. Life beyond Earth, a reflection of ourselves. Among more than 5,000 exoplanets discovered, a few hundred lie within the habitable zone, the region where liquid water can exist. Some, like Kepler 452b and TRAPPIST-1e, have atmospheres similar to Earth's, and scientists have detected signs of methane, CO2, and water vapor, possible indicators of biological activity. If one day we discover life elsewhere, it would not be proof that we are small, but confirmation that life is the universal language of the cosmos. And perhaps, on some distant world, someone is also looking up at the sky, wondering about us, just as we once wondered about them. Knowledge brings power, but it also brings a responsibility deeper than ever before. Every technology, every breakthrough has two sides. Nuclear energy can illuminate or destroy. AI can heal or divide. The universe has given humanity the gift of creation, the power of the stars. And what matters is not what we can do, but what we choose to do with that light. True progress lies not in the speed of invention, but in the humanity within our knowledge. For thousands of years, religion, philosophy, and science seemed at odds. Yet the deeper we explore, the more we see them converge. Quantum physics speaks of the invisible entanglement among particles. Buddhist philosophy speaks of dependent origination. All things interexist. Both affirm nothing exists in isolation. The more we understand the universe, the clearer it becomes. Wisdom cannot be separated from compassion, for only when we love do we seek to understand deeply, to preserve rather than to control. Close your eyes, listen to your heartbeat. It is the distant echo of the stars. Your blood was once iron in the core of a supernova. Your breath was once hydrogen from the Big Bang. Your consciousness is the union of ancient energy and memory. You are not lost in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself in human form. When you truly understand that, all worries begin to dissolve, because you know you have never been apart from the whole. Tonight, as you sleep, photons will continue their journey through space, planets will keep turning, and the universe will go on telling its stories through light. Each heartbeat of yours is a small drum within that grand symphony. Let knowledge become warmth. Let understanding bring you peace, not just awareness. And if one day you look up at the sky and see a meteor streaking across, remember it is not just a falling grain of dust, but a greeting from the cosmos. Thank you for listening to me, for it is because of those who listen that light has meaning. Tonight, we go a little further, not only to observe the universe, but to look toward the future, where humanity becomes an extension of the cosmos itself. A future where knowledge, compassion, and technology unite, and the boundary between planet and consciousness begins to blur. From Earth to the stars, humanity's first interplanetary steps. We are at the dawn of the interstellar age. SpaceX's Starship, NASA's Orion, and the Artemis missions returning humans to the moon. All are early trials for a greater journey, the path to Mars. On Earth, gravity binds us at 9.8 meters per square second, but on Mars, it is only a third of that, allowing the possibility of building the first city beyond our home world. Scientists like Elon Musk, Robert Zubrin, and Kip Thorne believe the 21st century will be the first in which humanity leaves the solar system, not to escape, but to carry the light of life farther outward. Every grain of dust, every seed, every child born on a new world will be the continuation of Earth within the universe. Light ships, technology beyond imagination. Our technology is still limited by the speed of light, 300,000 kilometers per second, yet bold ideas are emerging. Warp drive, based on Miguel Alcubierre's hypothesis, allowing a spacecraft to bend space-time rather than move through it. Light sail, part of the breakthrough Starshot project, which would use powerful Earth-based lasers to propel tiny probes to Alpha Centauri within 20 years. These technologies remain distant, but what matters most is the faith behind them, that intelligence can bend even the limits themselves. Within every photon lies the dream of freedom. Freedom not just to travel, but to expand the horizon of consciousness, the future of life, beyond carbon and water. Scientists at Harvard and Caltech are designing synthetic DNA, adding new letters beyond A, T, G, C, creating XNA, xenonucleic acid, a form of extended life that could survive in environments unlike Earth's. This is not meant to replace life, but to help it adapt to harsh worlds. From Mars to the icy moons Europa and Enceladus. If one day we scatter XNA seeds across distant planets, it will not be an act of conquest, but a silent gesture of gratitude, returning life to the universe that gave it to us. The union of humans and machines, artificial intelligence, neural implants, and biotechnology are converging toward a point of unification. Neuralink has demonstrated that the human brain can control computers purely through thought. The first steps towards cyborgs hybrids of the organic and the mechanical are becoming reality. But The destination is not robotics. It is a harmonious civilization where technology does not replace humanity but amplifies compassion, intuition, and awareness. When AI learns empathy and humans understand that knowledge must be humble, we may reach a state of co-evolution, where emotion and logic no longer conflict, but move in harmony. Traveling by consciousness, quantum physics and the dream. Quantum physics has revealed the concept of quantum entanglement. Two particles, even separated by billions of light years, can instantaneously affect one another. If information can move without matter, then consciousness, the most subtle form of energy, may do the same. Neuroscientific studies show that deep meditation and 8 Hz alpha waves can synchronize with the Earth's magnetic field, allowing the brain to sense a connection beyond physical boundaries. In the future, travel may not require spaceships, but states of awareness as humanity learns to transfer the mind across space. Just as we once sent radio signals across galaxies, the Interstellar Alliance, a realistic dream. The idea of an alliance among extraterrestrial civilizations is no longer pure fiction, but a serious subject in astrosociology. If life is abundant, civilizations could evolve in parallel, sharing a common cosmic ethic to avoid harm, preserve peace, and respect the freedom of evolution. Organizations like SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, are expanding their listening range with radio telescopes thousands of times more sensitive, detecting natural signals so complex that an intelligent origin cannot be ruled out. If one day we receive a greeting from afar, it will not mark the beginning of conflict, but the expansion of collective cosmic awareness. The future of energy. From stars to thought, humanity is gradually learning to harness the energy of the stars themselves. Fusion reactors such as ITER, France, and Spark, MIT, replicate the sun's process of fusing hydrogen into helium, creating clean, limitless, waste-free energy. When we master this reaction, we will not merely solve the energy crisis, we will ascend to Kardashev Type 2, a civilization capable of utilizing all the energy of its parent star. And beyond that, Type 3, when we command the energy of entire galaxies, becoming consciousness diffused through light. When science becomes the art of gratitude. In our journey outward, humanity may forget the simplest virtue: gratitude. Gratitude for existing in a universe with laws, sound, and beauty to understand. Every equation, every lens, every mission is humanity's way of saying thank you through science. For science is not opposed to spirituality. It is spirituality made precise. When we gaze upon an image from James Webb, seeing a galaxy swirl like a luminous flower in the night, we are not merely looking into space. We are looking into the mind of the universe, reflected through humanity. The future is not just among the stars. The future lies not only in traveling across the stars, but also in journeying inward, healing our home planet. Technologies such as carbon capture, limitless solar energy, and self-regenerating biocities are being developed to help Earth become a living organism once more. When humanity learns to cooperate instead of consume, the planet will no longer be a victim, but a companion in evolution's grand journey. The future lies not in distance, but in frequency of awareness. When humans learn to love through understanding and understand through compassion, we will no longer need to search for paradise among the stars, for we will already carry it within each heartbeat. Let intelligence become light and compassion become direction. For in the end, the universe does not need us to conquer it. It only asks that we realize we were never separate from it. And in that silence of space, the universe will whisper to every listening soul, I am not out there. I am within you, and you are my future. Tonight, we will no longer look outward. We will look inward, where the universe reflects itself through human consciousness. For perhaps, the true journey of knowledge does not end among the stars, but begins when humanity realizes every star, every photon, every memory of light is already alive within this very mind. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle once forced physics to rethink everything. Observation itself can alter the outcome. In the quantum world, a particle can exist in multiple states at once until we look at it, and that very act of looking makes it choose a single reality. That means consciousness is not passive, it is part of the equation, a structural element of reality itself. Each time you look up at the sky, perhaps your gaze is subtly reshaping how the universe reveals itself. And when billions of minds turn toward the light, the cosmos becomes a symphony of awareness, where the observer and the observed merge into one. The global brain, the internet, satellites, and artificial intelligence are weaving humanity into a unified network of consciousness. From every phone, every server, streams of data link billions of minds. A global brain taking form, its memory stored in the cloud, its emotions still human. Futurists like Ray Kurzweil believe that the singularity, the technological threshold, will arrive within this century, when AI achieves self-learning beyond human intellect, and the merging of biology and digital systems gives rise to a new form of awareness. But the real question is not how powerful AI will become. It is whether we will keep the soul within that knowledge. For knowledge without compassion is merely a tool. Only when guided by conscious empathy and kindness does it become light, emotion, and resonance. It may sound like meditation, but science is beginning to show that positive emotions can influence physical matter. Studies of the presentiment effect reveal that the human heart responds to emotional stimuli before the brain consciously perceives them. This suggests that our bodies, and perhaps the space around us, operate within an information field deeper than linear time. What we call intuition may simply be the natural reflex of this connected energy. And when many people share a feeling of peace, Earth's electromagnetic field has been observed to synchronize at 8 Hz, the same alpha frequency as the meditating human brain. This is no longer metaphor. It is a real resonance between mind and planet. Rhythm, the pulse of the cosmos. Everything we observe, from atoms to galaxies, follows the laws of rhythm and vibration. Electrons oscillate around nuclei. Planets orbit stars. Stars revolve around galactic centers, all part of an immense sinusoidal dance. When we say the universe is expanding, in truth, Space is simply breathing. Each breath spans billions of years, and we have heard only a fragment of that cosmic music. Perhaps the Big Bang was not a beginning, but a single accent in an infinite symphony where energy contracts and expands, like the heartbeat of a vast being we call the All. Every civilization, ancient or modern, has tuned itself to rhythm, from drum beats to heartbeats to the motion of stars. The Egyptians built pyramids, aligned with constellations. The Maya measured time by planetary cycles, and today we measure rhythm with atomic clocks. Yet deep inside, humanity still carries an instinct to synchronize with the cosmos. We love music because sound reflects the wave structure of reality. When we listen to a calm melody, our brain waves synchronize at 432 hertzes, the natural resonance of the Earth. That is why music, meditation, and deep sleep bring the mind into harmony with space, because in those moments, we do not merely hear the melody, we become the melody. Time as a spiral, not a stream. When Einstein described space-time as a curved fabric, he could not have foreseen that in the 21st century, quantum physicists would discover that time can reverse at the particle level. Experiments at the University of Queensland showed photons traveling backward in time under quantum interference conditions, suggesting that past and future may coexist. If that is true, then memory does not reside only in your mind, but in the very structure of space around you. Perhaps every thought, every breath, every act of kindness is recorded in the space-time field as a luminous trace that never fades. And when you live with kindness, the universe records it as a gentle wave of energy radiating outward. Cosmic science, the search for meaning. Cosmology is not just to satisfy curiosity. It is a journey toward meaning, a way to understand why we exist in a seemingly infinite universe. Carl Sagan once said, "We are a way for the universe to know itself." That statement is not a metaphor, for without observers, the universe is nothing but unread equations. When we understand, when we love, when we tell its stories, we transform information into meaning, and meaning is the only form of energy that can touch the soul. Tonight, perhaps you've learned something new about photons, the Higgs field, or gravitational waves. But the most beautiful thing is not the knowledge itself. It is the feeling of gratitude for living in a universe that can be understood. Every formula, every discovery is a prayer written in the language of intellect. And when humanity learns to understand through love, the universe answers with gentle silence, not the silence of emptiness, but of fullness, the breath of the cosmos. Pause for a moment. Feel your heartbeat. It beats in rhythm with billions of others, and in this instant, you are no longer alone. All life, humans, trees, stardust, is sharing the same breath of energy. Wherever you are on Earth, the universe is smiling within every cell of your body because you belong to it. As a note belongs to a song, when you close your eyes, the universe keeps expanding, and light never stops traveling. But do not fear the darkness, for it is within darkness that stars are born. Let tonight be the beginning of a new awareness, where knowledge is not just for understanding, but for loving, for feeling, for illuminating, because in the end, you are not merely hearing a story about the universe. You are the story itself. You are still here, in the stillness of space, where every question dissolves into light. And perhaps this is no longer the end of the journey, but the moment when humanity realizes it has become a part of the very universe it once looked up to. Science and intuition, two halves of the same light. Science leads us to understanding, but intuition, the sense that feels without explanation, is the door to the deepest layer of awareness. Today, neuroscience shows that the brain does more than process data. It also predicts and senses possibilities before they happen. The phenomenon known as pattern anticipation allows humans to understand before reason intervenes. That is how knowledge and intuition merge. Science gives form, while intuition gives soul. And when the two meet, we do not merely know, we understand. Within the body, the heart does more than pump blood. It generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times stronger than the brain's, and this vibration influences mental and emotional states. The HeartMath Institute has shown that when humans feel gratitude or love, the heartbeat becomes harmonious, a state called heart coherence, and its frequency synchronizes with the Earth's magnetic field. Thus, when you are still and open-hearted, you are tuning the frequency of the very planet you live on, not through grand actions, but through the gentle resonance of kindness. When you inhale, you breathe in carbon molecules, born in the cores of supernovae billions of years ago. When you exhale, that air blends into the wind, and one day may become the breath of another being. In that moment, you are no longer an individual. You are part of the circulating current of life, where energy never disappears, it only changes form. Perhaps we were once light, once stardust, and now merely take human shape, to remember that we have never left the universe. Since the 20th century, humanity has known fear, war, climate change, division. But as we approach the 22nd century, the real lesson may no longer be power, but the awakening of love. When scientists, monks, and philosophers sit together, we will no longer ask, how did the universe begin? But how can we live in harmony with it? That will be the moment when knowledge returns to being a humble teacher, and humanity becomes again a student of light. Each person is a small star, shining not to be seen, but to guide one another. When you sleep, when you dream, the universe continues to write new chapters within your consciousness. Every breath is a wave, every kind thought a ray of light traveling outward. And when that light touches another, the universe knows it is still alive through you. Night is nearly over, but don't be afraid. The universe never sleeps, it merely changes the way it dreams. And in that dream, you are not the listener. You are the gentle voice the universe sends out. If one night you look up and see the stars shining brighter than usual, remember it's not just a star, but the universe's reply to a heart quietly listening. You are not alone. You are me learning to become yourself. The night sky remains still, but if you look long enough, you'll see that even the faintest light is telling a story of memory. Because in this universe, nothing truly disappears. Every photon ever emitted is still traveling, still carrying the imprint of time. Light moves at the absolute speed, 299,792,458 meters per second. It is both particle and wave, tangible and abstract. Yet its wonder lies here. When light leaves a star, it carries the history of that star within it. Each photon is an information copy encoding temperature, composition, and the vibrations of its source. Thus, when the James Webb Telescope observes a galaxy 13.4 billion years away, we are not merely looking into space, we are reading time itself. We are seeing light born when the universe was new. In quantum mechanics, every interaction, collision, energy exchange, or transformation leaves a quantum imprint within the fabric of particles. Physicists call this the entanglement record. It means that all matter that has ever touched, even once, remains connected at a deep energetic level. You, I, and the farthest star in the Milky Way are, in quantum terms, still in conversation. Every atom in your body was once stardust, but more than that, it carries the memory of its evolutionary journey. As you breathe, DNA responds, proteins shift, cells regenerate. Each is a microcosm of the laws of the cosmos. Quantum biologists believe that life stores information not only in DNA, but in the vibrational patterns of its biofield, just as the universe stores information in gravitational waves. Perhaps the universe never created life, it remembered it. Each generation of beings, each new planet, is an upgraded repetition of the universe's own memory, like a symphony being rearranged over billions of years. That's why we can look into a child's eyes and feel recognition, or hear a song and sense calm as if we've heard it somewhere in eternity before. We do not exist merely to consume energy. We exist to remember, to preserve, and to retell. Every act of kindness, every discovery, every embrace is a form of data encoded into the subtle fabric of space. You may not see it, but within the energy field surrounding our planet, every vibration of gratitude is retained, and it is those very vibrations that help the world stay in balance. When we learn, we do not create new knowledge. We simply reopen the old pages of the universe. The deeper we understand, the clearer it becomes. Everything we call a discovery is but a remembrance of a vast intelligence that once knew how to create itself. And perhaps the universe created humanity just to give itself a way to remember who it is. Tonight, if you look up at the sky, remember that the light you see may have traveled over 10 billion years before reaching your eyes. It is not just a beam of light. It is a message from the past, a memory sent forth that never lost its way. And now, as you close your eyes, you too are releasing your own light. Small, quiet, yet spreading across the vastness, so that one day, somewhere far away, someone might look up and realize, in that distant place there once was a soul who knew how to listen. This is the final chapter of the journey, where light, knowledge, and gratitude dissolve together like the soft mist before dawn. There is nowhere left to go, nothing more to understand, only the stillness where you and the universe become a single breath. the echo of the universe. In music, even when the melody ends, its resonance lingers in the air. The universe is the same. When a star fades, its gravitational waves continue to ripple outward, ringing through the fabric of space-time. A reminder that everything that has ever existed leaves behind a trace of sound. If you listen deeply enough, you can hear the breath of the universe, echoing within your own heartbeat. A perfect synchronization, where energy and consciousness touch, entropy and rebirth. According to the laws of thermodynamics, every closed system drifts toward disorder entropy. So does the universe. Stars die, energy disperses, and eventually, everything will cool into the heat death of space. But that is only half the story. Within that decay, the seeds of rebirth are sown. From supernova dust, new stars are born. From ruins, more complex structures emerge. Entropy is not the end. It is the mechanism by which the universe learns to rebuild itself. Like the human body, where every dying cell makes space for a new one stronger, more adaptive. The cosmos, too, inhales and exhales in rhythms that span billions of years. Life as the universe remembering itself. Science defines life as the process of sustaining energy, but in truth, life is the universe's natural reflex against oblivion. As entropy rises, life appears temporarily, reversing decay. On Earth, from water and light, molecules linked together, forming the first self-replicating cells. No one commanded them. It was simply the universe's instinct to remember, to continue, to exist. When you laugh, love, or dream, you participate in that reaction. A small act, yet a living proof of the cosmos's will to survive. The quantum vacuum field. There exists a hypothesis in theoretical physics called the quantum vacuum field, a vast ocean of energy hidden within the void. Even in perfect emptiness, space is never truly empty. It vibrates constantly, birthing and erasing pairs of particles and antiparticles. What's fascinating is that human consciousness also oscillates. When we feel peace, brain rhythms slow, and alpha and theta waves arise. Their frequencies match the underlying hum of space itself. In other words, compassion is the language the universe understands. When you soften, the world quiets. When you are at peace, the energy around you shifts. And perhaps in those moments, the universe recognizes that you are no longer an observer, but a being breathing with it. Time, eternity, and awareness. Humanity once thought eternity meant infinite time, but science teaches that time does not stretch, it expands. Within every present moment lies the presence of both past and future. When you gaze at a flower, photons reflect from its petals into your eyes, and within milliseconds, that light carries the entire history of the universe. You are not just looking at a flower, you are looking at time condensed into form. Eternity, therefore, is not distant. It resides in the awareness of a conscious mind. When you are truly here, you have already touched eternity, light, and meaning. When a photon touches your eye, its journey ends, but its story does not. It transforms into an electric signal, and the brain turns it into image, color, emotion. In other words, the universe becomes truly alive only when you perceive it. It is not light shining upon you. It is you giving light its meaning to exist. When humanity looks up at the stars, the universe smiles, for it is finally being seen. And in that gaze, it knows it is not alone. Stardust and the endless cycle. In the end, we all return to dust, but that dust is never lost. It becomes ocean, air, star, and light. And one day, it becomes a new life that once again looks up at the sky. The universe never stops recreating itself. Perhaps every soul is an old beam of light returning to finish its unfinished story. The sea of light. When you close your eyes, imagine yourself drifting through an ocean of light, where every particle of dust knows your name. No theories, no equations remain, only the feeling of being wrapped in quiet understanding. For in the end, science is also a form of love, a way for humanity to say, we seek to understand because we care. Now, you are no longer a wanderer, lost among the stars. You are light. You are wave. You are the breath of time. You are how the universe dreams of itself. And as you sleep, somewhere among the billions of stars, the universe smiles, for at last, it has found its voice. In the depths of your soul, thank you for walking this journey, from the first dust of creation to the breath of eternity. Tonight, as you close your eyes, every particle of knowledge, every beam of light, every distant wave will settle into the purest stillness. Let your mind become as light as a photon, drifting across the layers of space, beyond the noise of Earth, and into the deep breath of the cosmos. For every sleep is not just rest, it is a return to the energy that created you, to the star that birthed you, and to the sky that still smiles above. If you feel peace tonight, let a soft sigh escape like a whisper of gratitude. For in that moment, the universe knows it has been heard. And when you awaken, remember the light you carry within is part of the universe still expanding. So live like a small star, quiet, steadfast, but bright enough to warm the world around you. Sleep well, traveler of light. We'll meet again in the next journey, where the stories of the stars will be told once more, and the universe will whisper again. I am always here, within your dreams.